I've listened to Reckless and Relentless by Asking Alexandria for 4 years.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the record ranking podcast for people who would rather be listening to music. I'm James. With me is Connor, and it's the last week of Mixtober.
The final week, Mixtober, come and gone, just like that.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye, in the blink of a Mixtaper eye. Well, it's not really, it's kind of the final week of Mixtober, because Halloween is a week from the day this episode comes out. So technically, I think next week I've picked an album that's kind of Mixtober-esque while still appreciating the unique timing of the episode. But that's next week.
That's next week.
First, we have to get Reckless and Relentless.
Do I have to be relentless? I'm mainly just reckless.
No, you're quite relentless, actually.
Oh, am I?
Unless you're tired.
Yeah.
Then you're actually rather relenting.
Yeah, I'm pretty relenting. I just prefer to be reckless.
Is there an antonym for reckless that's wreckful? I mean, there's careful.
Antonym for probably careful.
Yeah, but then careless is already a different word. What if George Michael did reckless whisper?
That's true. There is careful and careless. That would imply there is reckless and wreckful.
Mm-hmm. But there's also not a relentful.
There could be.
That's true. These are the kind of questions that we should be asking Alexandria.
I want a wreckful and relentful album.
Well, then you've come to the wrong episode.
That's a shame.
Wreckful and relentful.
I'm telling Alexandria, give me a wreckful and relentful album.
Yeah, these are our demands.
I'm done asking.
Wow. This is a heavier album than we've talked about in a long time. I don't remember the last time we've run across something so
heavy in sense of like the album weighs a lot when you buy it, or
well, no, not like physically heavy by the pound, heavy by the metal and by the screams and the
heavy metal.
Yeah,
not by the content.
No, not by the content. I would guess Seether maybe last Mixtober.
They're saying that we tend to go more metal during Mixtober.
We do, yeah, metal Mixtober.
Weird.
At least like screamo metal. We've done metal in between, like Van Halen and Def Leppard, but yeah, we don't usually do screaming stuff much. And I just thought, this would be a fun time to bring it back. This is a darker album too, heavy in the sense that the lyrical themes are weighty. And so, I don't know, Mixtober just seems like a good time to get those albums into the rotation. This doesn't strike me as like a February album. Not one of those Grape Day albums that the Mixtaper likes.
Maybe that's just you being a bit stereotypical.
Perhaps. Have you ever heard of Asking Alexandria before?
I've heard of them. I wouldn't have been able to name any songs, but I have heard of them.
No, I had too. And I don't know why. I feel like I was a friend that liked them a lot and talked about them. I'm not sure how they entered into my circle of influence, but they were a pretty easy decision to pick up when I was looking for something heavier, which again, I don't reach for often, but sometimes it just scratches an itch like nothing else can. I know some of this type of music is more up your alley. You're the one that recommended like Disturbed to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see where this falls on your ranking list. Seether did pretty all right. They got 8 Wung quotas. Other heavier stuff hasn't fared as well. Soundgarden was in the 5s. Motley Crue was an 8, but they're not screaming. Twisted Sister was a 6.
Only time will tell, specifically about one episode's length of time, and then you'll know.
One more episode. It's also ridiculous that we're almost a quarter of the way through the 200s already. I was thinking about that today.
That is crazy.
Wild. Well, behind every album is a story, and today we're going to learn the reckless and relentless story of Asking Alexandria. It's an interesting one, actually. I was kind of surprised to find out some elements of the story, like that the band started out as an entirely different band, then kind of relocated and became the same band a different time. I don't know. What I mean is, Asking Alexandria was first formed in 2003 by Ben Bruce, who was a lead guitarist in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. We've talked about Dubai. That's where Quincy Jones had his little club that the strike played at, right?
Yes, I think so.
I think so. So that's cool. And decades before the video game phenomenon swept the world, he named his band Amongst Us.
That's funny.
It is funny. Remember Among Us?
Still a popular game. People still play it.
It is. I haven't touched it in years, but it was a ton of fun. The founding members of this band, future Asking Alexandria, current Amongst Us, included lead vocalist James Murray, guitarist Robin Everett, bassist Lucas Brown, and drummer Hitesh Gandhi. But don't get too used to those names, because Well, they were in the band for a while, right? They did a name change to End of Reason. They made a debut EP, and then they made an album that kind of underperformed. But then Ben Bruce said, guys, this isn't working. I will never be famous enough like this. Not here in Dubai. I need to go somewhere else and do something else. So in 2008, 5 years into this band, he just packs up and ships out from Dubai to Nottingham, England. And of course, he leaves the band in the dust, and he builds a new band with locals.
A brand new band.
Yeah, a new fantastic point of view. I don't know. But he keeps the band name kind of alive, keeps the core of the band, I guess. But the new members and the lasting lineup of the band that's in place by 2009 includes vocalist Danny Worsnop, guitarist Cameron Liddell, bassist Sam Betley, and drummer James Castles. So that's the new, in quotation marks, new Asking Alexandria. That's the time that they actually named the band Asking Alexandria. Bruce said that most bands have a pretty crap name, so I just came up with something. I came up with Alexandria as a human name because people relate to humans, which is the most inhuman quote I've ever heard. Like a robot trying to explain himself to people. Ah, yes, a human name.
Yes, a human name. A name for a human.
A name for a human, Alexandria.
Some would say it's the most human name.
I guess. I wonder what that means. I wonder what the most human name is. The name that the most humans have, or a name that makes something not human the closest to human. But my whole question is, it's kind of like the Ship-Of-Theseused, right? If you take the whole band, dismantle them, go to a new place, get a bunch of new people, and change the band name, and you're the only constant between the two, is it the same band, or have you just started a second band?
You don't want to get me started on the Ship-Of-Theseused.
I don't know, I kind of do now.
The philosopher in me will come out and we'll have a whole new podcast.
Oh, Philosophy with Connor. A fun spin-off. Spin-off. Wow. That's a great name for things that we do that aren't music related.
That is pretty good.
But what's your elevator pitch on the Ship-Of-Theseused?
It's just fascinating. I mean, there is no answer, right? I mean, that's the whole point of philosophy.
That's true.
Kind of just makes you question, right? The whole concept of when does something cease to be the thing it was? And you can examine it from a lot of different points of views.
New fantastic points of views.
Yeah, a whole new ship.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected. The first record with the new Asking Alexandria lineup was called Stand Up and Scream. Oh, thank you for taking that as a directive. I wondered if you would. You did not let me down. It came out in 2009. It charted in the United States, and Asking Alexandria took off on tours as an opener for various bands like Unholy, Evergreen Terrace, Attack Attack, and Memphis May Fire. They're building up a really solid fan base, and I did not realize this, they opened for Dance Gavin Dance on their European tour in 2010. We talked about Dance Gavin Dance on episode 55, an eternity ago. That's a strong combo.
It was a pretty strong combo.
Soon, Asking Alexandria was big enough to headline some shows. They teased a little remix album that would include remixes from their sophomore album, as well as some then unreleased cuts from our subject today, Reckless and Relentless. So they did that little remix album, and they started recording their third record, Proper, in June of 2010. They spent a little more than 3 months of time in the studio. They actually did a lot of work in the small town of Connorsville, Indiana, in your ville.
I'm sorry, what makes you think it's small?
Well, it's small.
I have a pretty large ville.
Well, it's not about the size of the ville, it's about the quality of the Connor.
Yeah, but when you don't have a quality Connor, you then try to focus on the size of your ville to make up for it.
I also think it's small because the population was 13,300 at the 2020 census.
That's pretty good for a ville.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good for a ville. It's the county seat.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah, it's your ville. I'm surprised they haven't had a con there yet. Guess they're going to Venezuela and Connecticut before Connorsville, Indiana.
I think that's where the inaugural con was.
Oh, probably.
That would make sense. I don't know. I wasn't around for that. I'll bring it up to the con MIDI.
Oh, gosh. Good plan. Oh, and it's shrinking. At the 2010 census, there were 13,481 people.
Well, maybe it's just cold out.
Yeah, probably. Also, as you know, they're recording and making the album. Very interesting for 2010. They streamed some of their album making process live on a webcam.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty novel in 2010. It's like pre-Twitch. How do you stream? Where do you go? All these live cam sites. For the record, They worked with Joey Sturgis, the same producer behind the board on Stand Up and Scream, and they incorporate a lot of screaming and heavy metal into this album. Like I said, haven't done too much screaming yet, so I think it's just fun to get into. A little bit of deathcore. Mixtober and deathcore go hand in hand.
I don't know if I should be concerned by that or not, that I'm living with somebody whose brand goes hand in hand with deathcore.
I think you're fine. It's just an aesthetic. It's just a phase.
It's not a phase.
That's what they all say. And guess what? It almost always is. The band also felt like Reckless and Relentless was a chance for them to mature. They used to just like scream expletives and childish things in their lyrics. And so for Reckless and Relentless, they decided to put a lot more thought into each song's emotion and construction, kind of tone back the profanity a little bit. It was just a nice watershed moment for their creative process and their evolution. But that said, though, even though they're more mature, that doesn't mean they're more planned out. Asking Alexandria usually writes like the vast majority of their lyrics, if not all of them, in studio. Very spur of the moment stuff. That would stress me out too much. Honestly, if I had to come up with lyrics for the record we're turning in soon on the spot in the studio, forget it.
Yeah.
You're going to get really bad lyrics.
Yeah.
But lucky for the band, they pulled it off. Reckless and Relentless came out on April 5th, 2011, after 3 promotional singles, Morte Et Dabo, Breathless, and Someone Somewhere. Those came out and they did fine. The other 3 singles, Closure, To the Stage, and the title track, would come out after the record in July. And Reckless and Relentless ended up with some pretty strong positive reviews. It sold 31,000 copies in its first week in the US, and it debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 and charted in the UK and Australia as well, number 98 and number 30 respectively. And of course, we're only talking about the basic standard version of the album today, but there is a deluxe version with 5 bonus tracks that was exclusively available at Best Buy for a while there. And then they had a Hot Topic version of the album with 3 bonus tracks. What a racket. But Reckless and Relentless proved to be a real breakthrough moment for the band. Their popularity started to really take off. They got to play Australia's Soundwave Festival and the Vans Warped Tour.
Man, I've been trying to get in there.
I know. Yeah, they just won't let you in to the Warped Tour.
Just imagine if we got to play the Australia...
The Soundwave Festival?
Soundwave Festival. Yeah, imagine if like Spin It covered the Australia Soundwave Festival.
Oh, it's like press? That'd be cool.
Dude, it would be cool to get press badges to something through the podcast.
We've never like applied for it, but honestly...
No, but it'd be real cool.
We could get some media clearance to some stuff, I bet.
Be pretty cool.
I think they'd run us out of town if we tried to do a podcast at the Vans Warped Tour, like live recording.
Why?
We could obviously do media credential things, but who knows? Anyway, they did all these festivals and stuff. They took on an international headlining tour in the UK. They made a short film for iTunes. They also almost toured with Charlie Sheen. What do you know?
That is nuts. Wait, was it during his, what was the name of his tour? When was this, I guess? Do you have any more details about that?
Well, it was in the pretty immediate aftermath of Reckless and Relentless. Like the early 2010s.
Yeah, so that would have been, what was the name of that tour he was on that everybody hated? That was around the time he was on a tour that everyone was like, this tour sucks. Like, get a refund for your tickets, other people in other cities. Do not go.
Man, that's brutal.
Because they all thought it was going to be him telling, like, funny stories about, like, his career. And it was just him, like, ranting and raving, high on drugs.
That sounds rough. He's one man out of the 2.5, so.
It's true.
My violent torpedo of truth/defeat is not an option. That happened in 2011.
Yeah, sure, that sounds right.
The tour sold out in 18 minutes, a Ticketmaster record.
Yeah, he was very popular at the time.
Yeah.
This was when he was like making $1 million an episode or whatever towards the end of 2.5 Men.
Yeah. Sheen was announced as the face and partner of Nicotine, a line of disposable e-cigarettes.
Nicotine is hilarious.
It is. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Charlie Sheen. Anyway, moving on.
Maybe that was our spinoff.
Yes.
You thought Ship-Of-Theseused was bad.
It got worse. The Ship-Of-Theseused got Charlie Sheen torpedo of death. Anyway, but one thing Asking Alexandria did do, despite not touring with Charlie Sheen, is they did tour with Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh, that's cool.
Major throwback for you Spin It OG listeners. Yeah, that was episode 28. We talked about them. They started edging their singles into more radio-friendly territory, but they were committed to keeping the album tracks heavier for their next album, From Death to Destiny. And they tried, but it did start to wane a little bit, their bite and their punch. Then for a brief time in 2015, Danny Worsnop left the band for their record, The Black. He was working on music with his new band, Or perhaps Ship-Of-Theseused style, was it just another Asking Alexandria? I don't know. But there were some creative differences, especially around how heavy the music was and should be. So they made their next record with Dennis Stoff, but by late 2016, Worsnop was back with the band, and they've done plenty of new music in the 9 years since then, including a single featuring In This Moment's Maria Brink. We talked about In This Moment in episode 67. They're a very connected band in Spin It lore.
Yeah.
But to date, Asking Alexandria has put out 9 studio albums and 5 EPs. Their most recent album is from 2023. It was called Where Do We Go From Here?
Where do I go from here?
I think I heard a menace. And their most recent release is the 2024 Dark Void EP. Interestingly, though, too, as of January of 2024, to complete the Ship-Of-Theseused debacle, Asking Alexandria founder and the only remaining original member, Ben Bruce, stepped away from the band to spend more time with his family. So, as of January, none of the original Asking Alexandria is left.
Well, the name proceeds.
Yep, so it does. As for their awards and accolades, they've got a handful of stuff over the years. They have 4 Kerrang! Awards on 12 nominations, an Independent Music Award for Best Metal or Hardcore Album that they won actually for Reckless and Relentless, and they've earned 2 Metal Hammer Golden God Awards for Breakthrough Artist and Best UK Band. So there you go. That's what I've got on Asking Alexandria. Now it's time to bring the Mixtaper back for the final week of Mixtober and play some Factor Spin, where he's going to teach us 4 new things about Asking Alexandria that you probably never knew.
Maybe they know them all.
Maybe.
If so, the Mixtaper's bad at his job.
That's true. He could be having some issues if that's the case, but we'll find out.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper, here for the final week of Mixtober, but also it's kind of next week. In true Mixtaper fashion, I'm kind of extending it a week.
Yep, Mixtober ends and begins in mysterious ways.
It sure does.
So, when you were finding facts this week, did you figure them all out yourself, or did you ask Alexandria for information? I thought that joke was funny. Well, let me rephrase. I thought that joke would be funny.
Hey. Pretty funny joke.
Was that you laughing?
Yeah.
Don't patronize me.
You know, Santa goes ho 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 for his laugh. I thought I'd a.
Oh, like Santa in December? You're doing a Mixtaper Santa in Mixtober?
Mixtaper clause.
Okay. You could have gone with like Spinta.
I also thought about Santa Taper.
Of course.
But I got 4 exciting new things to tell you about Asking Alexandria.
Okay.
And you can't ask any questions.
Whoa, I can't ask any questions?
Well, I'm not Alexandria, so
Oh,
you're only allowed to ask Alexandria.
I can't. She's not here.
Well, then, that's what I said. Can't ask any questions.
Okay, I can deal with that, I guess. Maybe.
Oh, gosh, that'd be so fast. No, okay, I'll allow questions.
Okay.
My first supposedly true fact. They performed with Elvis.
They performed with Elvis, like the king of rock and roll?
Elvis Presley.
Like the real Elvis that died a while ago? You know, before they were around? Or some other Elvis?
Well, I have it on good authority. Elvis didn't die. He just went home.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
The cheeky Men in Black reference for all you fans out there.
I've never seen Men in Black.
Oh my gosh. But no, not the real one.
No, I didn't figure.
But real enough to get paid to be Elvis Presley.
An impersonator.
A Elvis Presley impersonator, yes.
Okay, but like a really good one, or just like any Vegas Elvis impersonator? No shade to them. They're still really good in their own right.
Well, it was a Vegas Strip Elvis, but, I mean, like you said, I think those are kind of okay.
Yeah, I do too. What are they doing with Vegas Elvis?
Using him as a last-second replacement.
Oh, they're contracting Elvis to sing?
Yeah.
Well, what happens?
Danny Worsnop had lost his voice and could not sing. And so they went down to a nearby wedding chapel on the Vegas Strip and found an Elvis impersonator to come perform with them
That's wild.
as fill-in vocalist.
Very interesting. And does he sing like Elvis? Does he sing like Danny Worsnop? Does he know the songs? Does he scream?
A little column A, a little column B.
Whoa.
Apparently he did his best to try to incorporate the growling heavy metal screaming of the band style, but also throwing in some operatic uh-huh-hums.
What? That can't be. That can't be.
That is how it was described. Operatic
Wow. How much time did he have to get ready? How last minute is this?
See, it was in August of 2013 during a stop at the Vinyl at the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas. Danny had blown his voice out following 2 back-to-back shows.
Tough.
Oh, so apparently the impersonator goes by the name Metal Elvis.
Oh, this is like his shtick.
That's like his shtick, is being a Metal Elvis. So that probably clears things up a little.
Helpful. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, well, he says back-to-back shows are probably not very long. I would probably within 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, if you're on tour.
So they probably just gave him lyrics, right?
Wow. Maybe Metal Elvis already knows them. Maybe he's already a fan.
Ben Bruce later joked in an interview that Metal Elvis had a better hairline than Danny and knew the lyrics better too.
Dang. Well, when you're writing lyrics on the spot, I would imagine they don't stick with you the most. I could see that. And Elvis had a great hairline. I think this is a spin.
Go and spin.
Yeah, I think Metal Elvis is a cool concept. And it's too fortuitous that he was free and ready to go. Like, he didn't have a wedding to do that night.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Not that he's booked up solid at the wedding chapel in Vegas, but, you know.
This is a true spin.
Oh, yes.
A
Okay.
Spin. It's a spin.
My theory was that you knew about Metal Elvis or found out about him and wanted to find a way to incorporate him.
No, I completely made up Metal Elvis halfway through the fact because it seemed like you weren't believing that an Elvis impersonator would perform with a heavy metal band.
Well, honestly, you lost me at operatic uh-huh-hus. Because I don't know if Elvis really did too many uh-huh-hus, but I remember on the Elvis episode, you were kind of all about him, so...
Yeah, but I was like, I'll just make up Metal Elvis and make it sound like I'm just now reading that.
Like he's like Metal Sonic in a video game, like a secret bonus character you can unlock if you push the right combinations.
Yeah, completely made up. Never happened.
But a fun idea.
A fun idea. I bet you there is a Metal Elvis. That probably exists, right?
Well, Casey Musgraves had the velvet one. There's Elvises of all different materials, I bet.
Well, my next fact might be a little too hot to handle.
Too hot to handle? I can handle anything.
Asking Alexandria.
Oh, that's too hot. Never mind. You were right.
Okay, well then I'll go with this one instead.
Okay, all right.
Asking Alexandria once flooded a venue. Kind of the opposite of hot. Water. Instead of fire.
Water could be hot. What are you talking about? The opposite of hot? Well, you ever make spaghetti? Anyway.
Sorry, I guess in my head I knew that the other one was fire related.
Well, so they flood a venue. Not our first venue flooding. Maybe our third? I don't remember. How did they flood a venue? Pyrotechnics setting off the sprinklers?
Well, this is where I have to be honest with you. I know you said the other one was too hot to handle, but sneakily, it's the same fact.
What?
Changed the name. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was because their amps caught on fire.
Their amps caught on fire? Which then, of course, set off the sprinklers?
Setting off the sprinklers and flooded the venue. Yeah.
Yikes. What'd they do? Play too loud? Were they old or overcharged? Like, how does your amp catch on fire? What have you done wrong?
I actually don't know what was wrong with the amps. This here talks about how the venue was on the hook for replacing their ruined amps and mixers. So I guess that means it was somehow the venue's fault?
Yeah, that is what it sounds like. Maybe there was some kind of, wiring or technical issue that the venue should have addressed and didn't. Maybe there was an accident that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. This was in 2015 at a show at the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, California.
Sounds like anything could have been the catalyst for this accident.
Says here it overheated, but again, overheated, that wouldn't be the venue's fault.
Yeah, unless something was wrong.
So what caused it to overheat? Yeah, I don't know. But according to Danny, the band continued to play as the sprinklers went off and the crowd was drenched. They called it the first ever underwater mosh pit, which I now wonder if Danny knows what the term underwater means.
Well, the water was above them. I don't know. That's awesome, though. But how could you, if your amps explode and catch on fire, like it's one thing to play through the sprinklers. It's another thing to just play quiet, normal, unamplified electric guitars.
Well, I think only Ben Bruce's.
Oh, Got it.
What's a Marshall stack?
That's, yes, amps, yes.
Oh, okay. It sounds like Ben Bruce's Marshall stack was the one that set off the sprinklers, and so I guess everybody else was maybe even unaware of what set them off at first.
Probably. Yeah, and you don't want to interrupt the show for a little water, little underwater mosh pit. That's fun.
What's a little water?
A little rain. If the Oh Hellos can do it, we can too. I think this is a fact. I'm going to believe this one.
Gonna believe this one, folks.
Yeah, I think a wet, rainy concert sounds very, very reckless and relentless of them. That's dedication.
It is dedication. And it is also a spin.
Oh, a lesson never learned. Darn. What'd I do wrong?
Again, completely made up.
Well made up.
I know what a Marshall stack is. I played dumb on that.
Well, even if you didn't, it's not that hard to look up. What does guitarist play with?
Yeah.
Guitarist amp type.
I hadn't stretched my spin making muscles in a minute. I've been doing a lot of true facts lately.
That's true.
A lot of subtle switching of true facts to turn them into spins. You know, you got to use them or lose them when it comes to muscles. So
Yeah, you just got to go all in.
thought I'd just make up some. But that brings me to fact number 3.
Fact number 3. Oh, boy.
They once literally brought the house down.
That would have been a good thing to call the Eminem fact where he sold his house, too. They literally brought the house down. Like Twisted Sister style, tore the club to shreds.
In a similar style.
Whoa.
More specifically, the ceiling.
They tore the ceiling of a club down? Why'd they do this?
They were frustrated by the venue's flimsy drop ceiling.
Oh, I do hate a flimsy drop ceiling, especially if it gets wet in there. Why were they frustrated by the ceiling? I mean, I understand not liking it, but to have a vendetta against it so bad that you bring it down, what did it ever do to you?
Yeah. Well, I guess it was already wet a little bit, and it was pretty messed up place.
Pretty nasty and gross.
Yeah. And so they took advantage of their very rowdy, relentless, and reckless crowd and kind of incited them, saying, jump up and grab a piece of the ceiling. And they sure did.
Jump up? How small was this venue? Jump up and grab the ceiling?
Drop ceilings are usually pretty low.
Yeah, that's true. But music venues usually have kind of high ceilings because stage.
Yeah, that's probably part of why they were annoyed.
Hitting their heads on it, crouched down. It's the normal 10-foot drop ceiling with a 4-foot stage. I don't know about this one.
After the show, fans even brought chunks of the broken ceiling to the band's signing table as souvenirs. And they took out enough of the ceiling that, air conditioning and all kind of collapsed in. You know, the stuff that was, attached to the drop ceiling.
Yeah. My goodness.
Air conditioning, vents, what have you. They brought the roof down. They didn't raise the roof. They tore it down.
Yeah, they did. But what consequences are there for this? The venue obviously has to replace it or something. What'd they do?
Yeah, the venue said that there would be no charges or cancellations or postponements of any upcoming shows.
No charges? I'd be charging. I'd say, you're buying the new ceiling, guys. That's your golden ticket to get a new ceiling. I think this is a spin.
Thinks it's a spin.
Yeah, I think stealing a ceiling is really... I mean, that's tough. Nobody wants to take home a giant tile of drop ceiling. If I'm a Rowdy fan and I tear the ceiling down, what am I going to do with that? Just a big old rectangle I have to find space for in my house. I guess if I had a drop ceiling, maybe I'd replace a tile of it with the signed one or something. I don't really know. But even then, that's kind of stupid. And I still don't... They're frustrated with the ceiling? I don't understand why they'd even do this.
This is a true fact.
That's true?
It's a true fact.
That's so ridiculous. Why? They just didn't like the ceiling. Man, remind me to never have Asking Alexandria over.
Yeah.
I don't have a drop ceiling, but man, sounds like they can make it a drop ceiling if they want to.
Apparently, they're quite known for destroying hotel rooms and venues. They were stuck in a hotel room in Australia, so they just trashed it, furniture, mattresses, and all. They just broke it all down and piloted it into a corner of the room so they could have the rest of the room open.
Oh, rock bands.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Rock bands, but in 2010, right? It's all right.
Thought we were past this.
Haven't we outgrown this a little, rock bands?
No, I bet a lot still do it to this day.
Yeah. But, while we're on the topic, let's talk a little more about how the band has very passionate fans.
Oh, that sounds like a final ramp. What do their passionate fans do?
Well, we talked about how they brought pieces of ceiling tile to be signed after destroying a venue.
Yeah, that was a fact.
Yeah. We have 2 additional fan requests at The signing table.
Oh, a pair of things that fans wanted them to sign?
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready. A pair is always dangerous.
A pear is always dangerous.
You never know until you bite into it if it's going to be soft and delicious or hard and tart.
The first one, we'll start here. The band was presented a fan's package.
Oh, like,
And not the FedEx kind.
right, not the FedEx kind. His little Iron Man.
Yeah, he's a little Iron Man for those who are returning from the Black Sabbath episode.
His Connorsville, for those of you who aren't.
Whoa, hey, no, that's
What?
that's quite large. It's a good size for a mill. It's average.
He brings it to the signing table? I mean, yes, obviously he has to. It comes with him. But he gets to the signing table and they go, well, where's your memorabilia? And he goes, allow me. Zip. What?
Yeah, he presented it to them and then handed them a mini Sharpie to sign it with, which is pretty funny.
It was average. That is funny. Well, that's gross. At least he brought his own marker? But that's not gonna last very long, obviously. That's gonna be gross.
Yeah.
Did they do it? I wouldn't do it. I'd say no. I'd say this is a line for me.
He didn't say if he actually did it or not, which makes me think he did.
And he just doesn't want copycats.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's an easy thing to say, no, I didn't, too.
That's wild. Ew. I don't like that one. That guy, just again, needs to be a little more reckless and relentless.
Well, you ready for the second one?
Yeah, what's up next? Can't be anything. How was that the first one? What's next?
Well, let's say the thing that they wanted Danny Worsnop to sign.
The guy behind them asked him to sign that guy's package again.
His arm.
His arm.
Yeah, a fan wanted his arm. Danny Worsnop to permanently mark his arm.
Like, sign in a design that someone would then tattoo on him?
No.
He wanted to have Danny tattoo it himself?
No.
He handed him a marker?
No.
It sounds a little... Okay, maybe I should rephrase the question. He handed him a Sharpie?
It was sharp, all
I
right.
was going to say a different definition of the word sharp.
It was a Sharpie.
Yeah.
It was a Sharpie, all right.
He hands Danny a knife
Yep.
and says,
Carve your name into my arm.
that's messed up. That's... Ew. Oh, awful.
Yeah, wanting to become human graffiti.
That's unreal.
This one I can confirm he did not do.
Yeah, no. You're opening yourself up to all kinds of lawsuits and stuff. Weird stuff. That's awful.
But yeah, just this has to be from back in their like earlier days, right? Where like the ability to get a knife to the signing table would be even possible.
That's a great point. Didn't even think about that.
Because now there's like all the metal detectors and stuff, right? But yeah, somebody presented a knife and said, please carve your name into me.
Well, I'm glad these two aren't the same guy.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is ridiculous. I think this is a fact and it's gross.
Going with fact, even though it's the twos are always dangerous when there's multi-parts, the multi-part questions.
That's true, and both of these are quite ridiculous.
But to the point that you wouldn't make this up. Is that where you're at?
I don't know if you would make it up, but even if you did, I just feel like if you've been around long enough and you've done enough signings of things, the first one is bound to happen at some point, right? Bound to happen. And the second one is a little out there, but not improbable. I don't know. Look at the audience. I could see it. Not a phase, you know?
This is a true fact.
Oh, boy. What a wild way to go 50-50.
Yeah, right?
I can't even wrap my head around it. That's,
Wild. I can't think of anything in my life that I would be so passionate about that I would like want it. Well, and I don't have any tattoos, but even then, like to be carved into me.
That's beyond a tattoo by a long shot.
Right.
I'd even understand wanting him to get a tattoo.
Like, I don't even want a tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, it already would have been a ridiculous fact if I said, oh, somebody came up and said, will you tattoo me?
Yep.
But at least that would have been, like, within the realm of, like, okay, weird, but I can understand it.
A little bit. Still an incredible liability.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, those are some reckless and relentless facts. We had Metal Elvis and explosions and ceiling theft and that.
Destruction. I thought it was a good set of 4 to end Mixtober.
Yeah, it was. Very nice. We kind of split Mixtober right down the middle here. You got 3 right on the Eminem episode. I got 3 right on the Black Sabbath episode. And then we got 50-50 on the last one. Go figure.
Well, there you have it.
We'll have to use the next episode as an honorary Mixtober tiebreaker.
Yeah, unless we 50-50 that as well.
Not impossible.
But we'll have to wait one short week until then.
So we will.
I leave you with a final Mixtober. Yeah!
There he goes. Goodbye, Mixtaper. We'll see you in November. Actually, I guess we'll just see him in October again. But November soon.
One more October, then November.
And welcome back, Connor.
Your statement wasn't wrong. We will see him in November. We'll just also see him in October one more time.
Yeah, thank you. That's validating. Well, let's talk about this album art.
Smash TV.
Very Smash TV. Very dirty room. Danny Worsnop said, "We wanted something shocking, so we had the famous porn actress Belladonna just sitting in a dirty room." There you go. That's what they have to say about it. That's what it is. It's striking. I don't know if it's shocking. Shocking.
I like the fonts they picked for both their band name and the title of the album.
Yeah, good font on the title of the album. Kind of like a good cursive, but still a little like messy.
Mm-hmm. A little reckless.
Little relentless. Man, remember when you could just shatter TVs like that?
Still can.
Well, you could.
Just doesn't have a bigger cavity behind it.
True. Well, that's the album cover. Not much to say about it. The choice to make it black and white, I think, is great.
It is a good, yeah.
It focuses your attention on everything in the picture, and it doesn't really draw it to one place or another.
Well, where it kind of draws it to is the yellow Reckless and Relentless.
Well, that's true. The only splash of color on the entire art. Then the band welcomes us into the album with the intro track, Welcome. Welcome is interesting because, it introduces this record, but it also interpolates parts of Illyrian, the intro track from their previous record, Stand Up and Scream. So it kind of ties their whole discography together in a smooth, seamless little way.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I like Welcome. It's dramatic. There's some piano here and some choir in the background that's giving me echoes of the eventual Morte Et Dabo, which comes much later in the album. It just feels like a good full circle moment. We get a big long intro, and then they kind of prime us for what the rest of the album's going to be like with their vocals at the end. The last half minute or so. We're back again. Let's make a toast. To every one of you who doubted us, we're back again.
I really like Welcome.
Yeah? I figured it'd be an easy winner for you.
Well, it's almost an instrumental.
Exactly.
And it's very good instrumentation, too. Very epic sounding.
Yeah, like watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that it kind of goes from 0 to 100 and then 100 back to 0. That ability to shift dynamics is a thing I really like about Asking Alexandria. But they kick it into another gear with Dear Insanity, the first full-length song on the album. Dear Insanity is a song that details Danny Worsnop's struggles with drug and alcohol abuse, like the insanity of being in the throes of addiction. This album was made before he got clean, which he is now. But this whole album deals heavily with substances and abuse and addiction and just a lot of that lifestyle he was living at the time.
Change one letter and you got a very different song.
Yeah, Dear Insanito.
No, I'm just saying change the A to an E and you got Deer Insanity.
Oh.
And now it's a song about
like the animal.
A deer that escaped like a mental hospital.
True. On a collision course to hell we march. Yikes. If I go down, I won't go alone. Wow. That's just intense. Hold your breath, my dear, we're going under. I love the way he sings that. Such good power on the choruses and stuff. I will admit, the lyrics on the verses and stuff, screamed lyrics, sometimes get a little lost. They're a little hard to understand.
I'm not as big a fan of the screamed lyrics, but yeah, when he's actually doing the singing on like the choruses and stuff, I really like their sound.
Yeah, me too. It's sleek, it's intense, it's urgent. I don't know, they just have a certain, dare I say, insanity to them. And I think screamed lyrics are harder to decipher, but if you're looking the lyrics up anyway, not so bad.
Yeah.
And it's also true that it kind of acts like added ambiance, like an instrument. If you can't understand the words, it kind of comes across as just another instrumental tool of sorts.
Yep, I have two wolves in me.
Oh, boy.
When it comes to heavy metal screamo music.
Yeah, one is Reckless and one is...
One is Reckless and one is Relentless.
What are your wolves?
No, I love the sound of these kind of bands, the heavier, high-intensity instrumentation.
Yes.
But I, much like when it comes to like rap and other weird vocal things, I'm not always the biggest fan of the actual screamo style. And so, especially a band like this that like walks that line of half the song will be screamo and the other half he'll just be singing very loud, passionate, kind of like stadium level volume the whole time.
Yeah.
I like that part. I don't like the screamo part as much. But then typically when he's in the screamo part is when the instrumentation is going nuts. And it's not going as nuts when he's in the part vocally I like. So it's like I'm constantly at war.
Yes. Your wolves are constantly fighting.
Both want to be alpha.
Yeah. Wolf battle. I get that.
We need to get to our moon era so they have something to howl at.
I think I just have a little bit of a predisposition to be skeptical of this kind of music because I've heard so much of it that's so campy, right?
Sure.
And so it's refreshing when I find somebody that does it well and sings good lyrics that are like actually, deep and stuff. I think a lot of times there's a danger to just lean into the sound and kind of let the lyrics be second tier, take a back seat. And I'm glad that Asking Alexandria does not really do that. These are heavy lyrics. That's true on Closure, too. Closure has one of my favorite lines on the album. One of them. In the chorus, they say, I can't last a day in the real world. I say, you wouldn't survive one night in mine.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, it kind of just gives you a sense of how dark and scary things are in there. Closure was the fourth single. They sing about keeping rock alive, making the scene what it should have been instead of what it kind of turned into.
No, I don't want to jump too far ahead, so say whatever you want to say about the first part of the song, but when we get to that second part where they really back it down, I've got some thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Well, I really like the transition between the intro part and then what they get into for the first verse. There's a tempo change in there. It's the same kind of speed up thing that we heard happening last week with Paranoid, but they do it mid-song to kind of bring the song up to a new tempo on Closure, and I like that. Closure's got such a nice sing-songy style to the chorus.
Yeah, but it gets a little techno in the instrumentation break at like the 2:40 mark.
Yeah.
2-minute mark, wherever that is.
Yeah, it slows way down around like 2:10.
Yeah, but then around like 2:30 it goes a little techno.
Yeah, I love that part. Fun change.
Yeah. And then the transition out of that section back into the actual song builds so well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice because it's so different than the rest of the song. But it's cool. The music's dead with a bullet in its head. Let's wake it up. Kind of feels like they mourn it and then they wake it right back up again.
Oh, I just now realized I missed your joke earlier when you got the first one wrong. Or, in Factor Spin.
Yeah. I said, it's a lesson I never learned. That was indeed a reference to track 4. A lesson never learned. And it's another song about being deep in the throes of drug addiction. Talks about how he keeps coming back to the drugs to numb the pain, even though it keeps his life in a bad place. It's just an endless cycle and he never learns the lesson, never figures out how to break that cycle at this point in his life. Worsnop said, I'm almost admitting everything I was feeling and going through and accepting that nothing was going to change. That's how things were and I'd have to deal with it. So almost, I guess, from his perspective, it's less of a lesson never learned and more of a lesson that can't be learned.
Well, one that can't be never has been either.
Well, that's a great point. I really like the drums on A Lesson Never Learned.
Okay, but imagine Metal Elvis singing this song.
I can't. He doesn't exist. He's an Elvis never born. This song, I like that it's kind of got a bit of an orchestration behind it, too. It kind of recalls the instrumentation, the cinematic arrangement on Welcome. They really fill out the back of the sound with some string sounds and, yeah, that kind of whole thing.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, we're 4 tracks in, and I'm already getting a little tired of the screamo.
Oh, well, it doesn't go away.
I know. It's just, there's only so much you can do with it before it all just starts to run together. And I just find myself, every time they go into actual singing, being like, like it's a breath of fresh air every time. So it's like, then when it goes away, it's like each time it hits heavier for me, the disappointment.
Yeah, that's true. I really like the chorus on A Lesson Never Learned is definitely the brightest spot. So cool.
Yeah, I think I sit right in that sweet spot where metal is like heavy rock, but not so much the farther we get into metal and the heavier the metal gets.
And the deathcore, yeah.
I start to lose it.
A third wolf has entered the chat. I will say they do a good job of keeping these songs pretty reasonable lengths to kind of combat that.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing on here too crazy. The final track, but
yes, well, we'll get to that. First, we got to get to The Stage, the 5th single from the album.
What's this song about?
Drugs. No.
I mean, I kind of wondered that.
Well, it's definitely there. I know that I should walk away, but I can't bring myself to quit this game.
Well, just because, like, you know, there's always, like, the 12 steps or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if there was, like, a...
Yeah, self-destruction is such a pretty little thing, he sings. A kick in the teeth from the world that's painted gold.
I do at the 130 mark. I like that chorus. Again, it is so good. Like, I cannot stress enough how much I really like the sound of this band when they're singing.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like their vibe. I like the instrumentation. I like the vocalists. Just stop. I mean, as impressive as the throat singing stuff is and the screamo is, like, technically, it's just not what I want to listen to.
Sure. Definitely what drew me to this band and kept me captivated was the singing sections and just the overall style. I like the screaming, though. I think it's well done.
Yes, technically it's impressive. It's just not what I want to listen to.
But it is, you're right, it is hard to do that differently than anyone else. Not many people are able to scream in a way that's
unique,
super recognizably, oh, this is a scream from Asking Alexandria.
I can only think of one.
Yeah? Who's your one unique scream? Ray Stevens? I bet he'd be unique.
Oh, it would be Steven Tyler.
Oh, Steven Tyler's got a pretty unique scream. His Dance Gavin Dance has a unique scream because he, like, scream sings it. John Mass. I don't know, there's a few, but...
There's a few, for the most part.
The breakdown onto the stage is cool, though. At the end, everything kind of falls apart and dissolves into this echoey oblivion.
Yes, so it does, and then it perfectly transitions into the dedication.
Mm-hmm, true.
Which was really nice. I was worried it was... When they were doing that, I was like, oh, I hope they transition well. And they did.
They did. But they did it into kind of... Dedication is like an interlude kind of track.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it kind of ends side one, if you're going to put that in quotes.
This is how you do a good interlude.
Yeah. Transition smoothly into it. Throw that spoken word in there. It's spoken by James Murray, the original lead singer.
Spoken word with instrumentation behind it, though, to keep you in the vibe.
Yeah.
And then it only is a minute long, and then it gets out of the way.
Gets out. Yeah. It's about loss and heartache. One big chunk of lyric, one big chunk of verse, poetry. Don't ever let go of that smile. Hold on forever, because that's our final destination. And it's apt. I mean, it's really cool to put Dedication, a song about love and heartache and keep your smile forever, right up next to Someone Somewhere, which is one of the best songs on this album. Easy. It was the third single, the last promotional single they did before the release, and it's dedicated to Danny's grandpa, who was his biggest supporter as a musician. He talks about wishing he could make his grandpa proud. Is what Someone Somewhere kind of draws from.
Aw.
Yeah.
I think I have good grandparent energy.
Yeah? What does that mean?
I don't know. Some people are like, some people it's like, oh, you have
good dad energy
or whatever. Yeah. I think I have grandparent energy.
I'd agree with that.
Can I just jump right to being somebody's grandparent? Is there any applications out there seeking grandparent?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's a job I could do quite well.
Probably. Danny said that Someone Somewhere was the first time I've ever summoned the courage to truly open up in a song. However honest my music has always been, it's never shown complete, uncensored emotion until now.
Wow.
I know. He said it was always very self-conscious when it came to talking about my feelings and opening up. I guess it's really the quintessence to all my defects as a person. This is what he said, which is wild. The song is broken into chunks, emotionally and thematically. He said the first section was for my granddad who passed away just before I moved out to the States to make Asking Alexandria what it is today. He was a great man and I never really talked about it. He said the second verse is to my parents and family with which contact is scarce at best. I'm not, never have been, and probably never will be any kind of close with them, which is sad, but, it happens. Verse 2, about his family, he says, I know we don't speak much, and we both know I'm not keen to, but I think there's things I left unsaid. I wish I'd been a better kid. I'm sorry for letting you down. I mean, that's vulnerability. And then in the third verse, he says, is to Ben, my guitarist and best friend. He said he saved me from the hell I was in and threw me into the hell I'm in now. Not much of a change, except now I'm overpaid and famous. He'll be my partner in crime till I'm dead, Danny said. And then the last section is the chorus. He said it's a positive yet painfully depressing reflection of my reality. Even when I'm at the bottom of a barrel, passed out with a bottle in my hand and a bill in my nose and a needle in my arm.
A what in his nose?
A bill, like a dollar bill from, cocaine.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But he said someone somewhere is supporting me and loving me through all that. So very vulnerable, very emotional song. He also said that he was so high on oxy during the recording that he couldn't stand up. So that's a fun detail. But nevertheless, it's a very sweet song. And it rolls right into one of the other most popular songs on this album, Breathless, the second single.
The second single was Breathless, really?
Yep.
I would have guessed To the Stage.
I know, right? But no, To the Stage was fifth, well after the album came out. But Danny said, I wrote Breathless on a momentary turning point that most drug or alcohol abusers go through on a regular basis. I was high and decided I needed to clean up and change myself. The song is more than anything an admittance to having a problem and my way of talking about that and my desire to just get away from myself. And he said, turns out that's very hard to do, no matter how many intoxicants are running through your body. But I love that turning point mentality. You know, it's never too late. You're never too far beyond hope. And that's kind of what Breathless gets at. And it's the same story as the rest of the album in terms of the balance between screaming and singing. I'm sure your wolves were getting tired of fighting by track 8.
Yeah, my wolves are a little sleepy.
Yeah.
But they continue to fight.
They do. They're still at war. The good news is you could kind of give your singing wolf a bit of a rest on the match.
Yeah.
The match is a lot more growled and screamed. There's really not as much singing in the match at all.
Yep.
And it's another really intense, angry song about getting vengeance and stuff. I need a match. I think it's time I make my own way. You'll never hear my name without your chest in flames. That's a wild lyric. Bring your friends and we'll burn the city to the ground. This is an arson song.
Yeah, which I'm sure got tons of criticism. Just this genre in general gets a lot of criticism.
It does. It gets a lot of scrutiny from people. I think people just hear the content and not the meaning in those instances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're singing about drugs. They're singing about how much drugs are ruining their life and keeping them down.
Right.
Like, the messaging is not negative.
It's like, what's the video game everybody was freaking out about? Recently came out, and by recently I mean within the last couple years. But it's a whole game about, like, killing demons.
Oh.
And like all these organizations and people and families were like, oh my God, the game's all about Satan worship and demons. He's like, no, it's actually the exact opposite. Like, we're killing them. like, yes, they're in the game. It is a demon game, but it is about killing them.
Yeah, people just deliberately ignore stuff like that. And I think it's the same treatment that Eminem got for the whole genre of this deathcore and stuff. It's like so much of the messaging and the community and the vibes are positive and close and uplifting. It's just coming from a darker place, pointing people in a right direction.
Yeah, I say it's not coming from unicorn fairy tale land. It's coming from a much darker place. But
yeah,
saying the same thing of everything's like happy or we want it to be happy.
Yeah.
Or this thing sucks or heartbreak or whatever. It's all saying the same stuff just from a darker place, like you said.
It's so much more of a realism point of view. Like
the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, they don't shy away from the nitty-gritty reality of it. I think that's the real thing that's striking about this genre and this style of music. The match also gets into a bit of a techno section towards the end. Not as cool of one as Closure, but they kind of repeat that trick. They're a two-trick pony there. Well, that's not what I mean.
Two-trick wolf.
A two-trick pony would only know 2 tricks. They know a lot more than that. They just use the same trick twice.
They brought the same pony out for a second show.
Yeah.
It's like when like an audience member in a magic show says, do it again, and then the magician redoes the same trick.
And it still blows everyone away.
Yeah. But, another bottle down.
Yes, right. The match is the second longest song on the album.
Another track down, another bottle up.
Yeah, Another Bottle Down comes up next. It is, of course, a drug and alcohol abuse song. But the chorus of the song is reminiscent about Danny's feelings of surviving an overdose. Kind of kickstart my heart energy. My heart's now dead and gone, and I'm still breathing. I made it out alive. I won't fall down again.
The singing wolf is back up.
Yeah, he's awake again.
Had a little breather, got to sleep and eat, and now he's back.
Back in the fight for sure. The screaming wolf is having some interesting stuff on this one. I can't
yeah.
I can't believe I didn't find this before to just indulge, even if it kills me. Who cares if we die? Man, it's a dark song. I would say Another Bottle Down doesn't have very many silver linings, but it sounds great, and there's some really interesting orchestral sections in there that are augmented with piano parts. Very well arranged. But we're coming to a really strong ending for the album, I think. And one of those ending bits is the penultimate song, the title track.
Title track!
The 6th and final single, Reckless and Relentless. It's drugs, drinking, rock and roll, party it up. Very much in line with the rest of the album. Very reckless, very relentless. Consequences to the wind, cares to the wind. We are living our lives at the end of our ropes. Ben Bruce said that the song was kind of meant to sum up their entire experience out and about. He said the title is something we felt summed up our whole album and our 2 years of touring so far. It has been Reckless and Relentless. We haven't stopped touring since before the first album came out. We went on tour about a month before the first album, and we haven't stopped since then. We took a break to go into the studio and had a week off for Christmas, and that's it. It's constant touring.
Gotta take a week off for Christmas.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he said, we felt like it was the perfect name for this album, and it tells the story we wanted to tell. And boy, do I agree with that. It certainly is a Reckless and Relentless album. Reckless because there's nowhere the album won't go, and Relentless because, it's been a whole 35-minute ride so far.
Yeah.
It's been heavy, it's been fast, got your blood pumping.
I really like the title track. It's not anything new.
Not quite.
But yet it feels new.
Yeah.
For the album.
Your Screaming Wolf can back down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But when he does come in, like at like the 1:30 mark, the Screaming Wolf is there, but in a way I like.
Yeah. They support it better with the instruments, especially those little solo guitar bits that bleep in and out there.
Yeah. Or when the Screaming Wolf it goes high in the background.
Yeah.
There's a ah!
Yeah. It's different. Just like the cigarettes hurt, just like the whiskey burns, I guess I'm never going to learn. That's the same. It's a lesson never learned in different clothing.
Those wolves do like to dress up in different clothing. That's what I've heard.
Uh-oh. Especially if you're a sheep.
Yeah.
But then the album makes the interesting decision to save one of its best for last.
Best for last faux show.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the prevalent opinion, even though the Spotify plays would suggest Someone Somewhere to the Stage kind of have been bigger. And shoot, even Dear Insanity, Closure, Reckless and Relentless are bigger. Another Bottle Down.
Yeah, it's really not got that many plays compared to the rest of the album.
But people love it.
But boy, is it a good one.
Morte Et Dabo is incredibly popular from what I've found out researching this album. And it's a really interesting pivot. I think maybe one of the reasons it's not as streamed is because it's so atypical for the rest of the band's style and sound.
Sure.
It was the first single from the album. It is the Latin translation for Dead and Gone, and it's intense. First of all, we start with this choir singing Dead and Gone. Oof, very different.
Very cool.
Another wolf, again, has entered the chat.
We got a whole pack.
Yep. This song takes an interesting lyrical approach, too. Like, the whole album has been on a very personal level, right? Morte Et Dabo is such an interesting situation. It's a song written from the perspective of Satan getting kicked out of heaven and then like going to war with God. It's gruesome and it's dark and it's wild and it's out of left field. The rest of this album has been on a very low down human scale, right? My life is in shambles. I'm doing drugs. I'm touring and life is reckless and relentless and love and like, it's on a very personal, intimate level. And then suddenly we're like a very high concept out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's the longest song on the album. There's a choir there. It's a real left turn.
Even though it's one of my favorite songs, it almost hurts the album, though.
Yeah.
In terms of its, like, cohesion.
Yeah, where'd it come from?
Right. And where'd it go? Where'd you come from, Morte Et Dabo?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe should have left it a little dead and gone.
The drums are great.
Saved it for a single or put it somewhere else where it maybe fit better.
Yeah. Like, in terms of the album, great song. Still do the song band, just maybe not here.
Yeah, very interesting. So that's Reckless and Relentless. It's a solid album, but Asking Alexandria was still, like, on the rise and hadn't peaked yet. Like, their first charting singles wouldn't happen until 2 years later in 2013.
Sure.
But it's a good early look at what the band was up to in its beginnings.
Yeah, I mean, not a single track from this album is in their top 10 on Spotify.
That's true. That has been 14 years. But let's get into some final spin. I think they do a lot of stuff right. I think as far as the genre goes, it's pretty in line with what I expect, and it's done well. Not the genre I go to the most often, but this really does tick all the boxes of what I want when I'm here. Giving the music an 81. I'm giving the lyrics a 75. They're just a bit tough to decipher most of the time. I feel like I have to work to just understand verbally the lyrics of this album if I'm not looking them up. And that's a bit exhaustive, right? I feel like that tires me out as I'm listening. I'm giving the lyrics a 75. I think a lot of these songs say the same thing. They kind of take a half different approach, but mostly content is very similar, delivery is very similar. Either that or it's like so out of left field that it makes you go, what? So 75 on the lyrics, 83 on the instruments and the production. Really great guitar work in here. Really interesting decisions to cut away to those instrumental breakdowns, those techno electronic breakdowns sometimes. I like that a lot. Overall vibe, giving the album an 82. I think it's a pretty interesting journey, and I have really no complaints about it. It's just solid. It's fine. Overall, giving Reckless and Relentless by Asking Alexandria an 80.6. which lands it on my ranking list at number 652. Puts it above Wiz Khalifa's Rolling Papers.
Oh.
And below the Wu-Tang Clan's 36 Chambers. Enter the Wu-Tang. You best protect your neck. How about you? I know Wu-Tang Clan was one of your lowest scoring albums, so if this is below that for you, oof. But I don't think it'll be quite there. And Wiz Khalifa's one of your 9s.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa's one of my 9s. For me, I was intrigued by the band.
Yeah.
Not so much the album. There was parts of their sound that I always said, if the album was more in line with this piece, it'd be an easy 9. And then there were other pieces I'm like, ooh, this is like a... I don't think they ever really dipped below, at any point on the album for me, below like a 5, to be honest with you.
Okay.
There was never a section I was like, ooh, that's like a 2 or a 1. I think the lowest it ever dipped was a 5. The highest it got was a 9, though, at certain pieces. They have a really good sound. This album specifically, you said it's earlier in their catalog.
Yep.
I think leans a little heavier into the stuff I didn't care for.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what caused tension later in the band is they started to move away from the screaming and into the poppier side of things.
Yeah, correct. And so I actually was so intrigued, I went and listened to another one of their albums.
Whoa.
I know.
Oh, that's the first time you've ever done that before an episode. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I hid that here for Final Spin.
What a reveal.
I know. Well, I didn't want to like have you thinking that in the back of your head the entire time we were talking about this album.
Yeah, right. True.
I thought I'd reveal it here.
Which one did you listen to?
So I just started hitting play on their top 10 on Spotify to see if there was anything I liked more. And I did. I liked both their number 1 and their number 6 song a lot, which is Alone in a Room and Into the Fire from their 2017 album that I guess is just self-titled.
Yeah.
Which is a weird place to put a self-titled album. But
other bands have done it.
Yeah. And it very much so they still get into the screamo a little bit, but it's more supported by the music. Like it was, like we were talking about on the title track of this one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I went and listened to that, and that album, man, like it makes me want to backtrack that album in this band, or like break a rule and like slot them into the Year of Redemption somehow, or something, because I really enjoyed the 2017 album. So I guess my challenge to you is for you to go listen to that and see what your thoughts are and what we want to do with that, because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm just taking a peek at it right now, and I think that's exciting. We haven't done a backtracks in a long time. That's a really fun reason to bring it back.
Yeah, so you go listen to it, and, off podcast, we'll figure out what format and how we want to do it. But that's my challenge to you. Back to this album, my top 3 in album order, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting off with a honorable mention right out of the gate, coming in with Welcome.
Wow, that's only like half a track.
I know, but I really enjoyed the sound of it.
That's interesting, because there's also like no singing. It's all Bad Wolf.
Yeah, but there's not really much Bad Wolf either until the very end.
No, it's true.
It's mainly just instrumental wolf, which is one of the most dominant wolves in...
That's the real alpha wolf, is the instrumental wolf for you.
That's
Absolutely.
the real alpha wolf, yeah. But then coming up next, Closure.
Okay.
And then a big jump down to Reckless and Relentless.
Ooh.
And Morte Et Dabo.
Huge jump.
Yeah.
And including a song that you said probably shouldn't have been on the album.
I said, great song. Just, it is going to hurt the score a little bit.
Yeah.
Not much, but a little bit.
Sure, that makes sense.
But it's a good song. In fact, the question is, what do I want to pick as a playlist pick?
Tough call.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Closure.
Closure. Wow.
Yep, I enjoyed it.
I like it too. It would be on my short list for a top 3, I think.
You got a playlist pick?
Yeah, it's a tough call too. I'm thinking. I closed the lyrics. And they're not on Spotify for some reason.
No, they're not.
Not all of them are.
Which is a real annoyance when I was listening to it.
I know, right? I'm really liking A Lesson Never Learned. I'm tempted to also take Dear Insanity or something. I don't know. I'll probably stick with A Lesson Never Learned.
Okay. I thought about taking the final track, but it felt weird to take something to represent this album on our playlist I didn't think should be on the album.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So I chose not to take it.
That's going to be a really fun pair of songs on the playlist, though.
As for my score, we've got a nice, ferocious 6 wolves out of 10.
6 wolves.
So how many's in my pack? How many's in the Asking Alexandria pack, at least?
That's your second wolf unit in like 15 episodes.
Wait, really? What was my other one?
Well, Remy Wolf had glitter-eating, lowercase, yelling wolves, and then Asking Alexandria just gets wolves. Now, the context is very different, mind you. Maybe Wolves at War.
Warring wolves, if you want a little bit of a, not really alliteration, 'cause it's not a hard sound, but, you know, with the soft sound.
That still counts as alliteration. Consonants.
But isn't there a different term? But isn't there, I mean, it is a consonant, W, but I thought there was another term when it was a softer.
The term is, I like it.
Oh, okay. Warring wolves, 6 of them.
How about that?
And they're gonna go right around Radiohead somewhere.
Oh,
I'm just trying to decide up or down from Radiohead.
I'm so happy and excited and surprised to hear that Radiohead's in your 6s. Haven't gotten over that big win yet.
Yeah, I think, though, this is going to go above it. I think this is going right above Radiohead.
Right below Parachute, another band who released a self-titled album as their 4th album or something.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Very different albums, all of those.
Yep.
That's what the podcast is all about, comparing things.
Well, the battle comes to an end.
Your wolves can rest.
The war goes on, but the battle...
The war goes on.
Yeah, the battle concludes.
Yes, indeed. And so concludes another Mixtober also. I know we still have one more week in October, but something tells me November will come a little early this year.
October's not Mixtober. They're 2 completely different things. Mixtober is not tied to October.
You're right. They're separate.
We could decide to Mixtober it in April if we need to. I mean, if pumpkin spice all of a sudden becomes super popular,
That's true.
it's more tied to the pumpkin spice season.
I think Mixtober was a big win. We got a great playlist from the Mixtaper a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Eminem, one of your favorite rappers.
We got 13 new holidays to celebrate on the podcast.
We did. We got to talk about Eminem and dig into his music, and we got to celebrate Ozzy Osbourne and talk about the birth of heavy metal. And then we got to do Asking Alexandria, and your wolves got to get some exercise. It's not bad. You gave 22 total units out of 30 on these 3 albums, so I'm happy with that.
Oh, that's decent.
Yeah, fun Mixtober. Love it. Such a fun season. Such a fun little tradition. If you're looking for Spin It, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, which is probably right where you're listening now. You can like and follow and subscribe, thumbs up, do all the stuff you need to do, rate some stars. We'd love to see you again for another of your favorite albums. We got a pretty extensive back catalog you can check out. And you can find us on social media, at SpinItPod Official on Instagram, at SpinItPod on X, and of course we're at www.spinitpod.com as well.
Go tell your most metal friend about the podcast.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like Metal Sonic and Metal Elvis.
Yeah, you know, if you got a friend out there named Chad, you know, go tell Metal Chad. Don't tell regular Chad.
No, he doesn't need to know. Metal Chad should love the podcast. How come that's not a joke we made last week when we talked about Iron Man? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of metal humans in this Mixtober. See you next week for an episode about the longest album we've ever talked about. Ooh-hoo.
Ooh, little teaser.
Uh-huh. And until then, keep spinning. What do you think they're asking Alexandria in the first place? Like, what information does she have? What does she know that we don't?
Probably what happened to her library.
Probably, man. That burned down. Talk about the match. Man.
Yeah.
All the knowledge we lost.
Might have been caused by a faulty speaker.
Oh, man. Yeah. An amp blew up in the Library of Alexandria. What do you know? The whole thing went up in smoke. Oh, the knowledge we lost. Talk about a lesson never learned.
They probably had the answer to the Ship-Of-Theseused in that library.
I bet they did. Well, let's just make a new answer to the Ship-Of-Theseused with all the parts from the old one, and it'll be the same.
But is it the same answer?
I don't know. Time to break out Philosophy Connor and find out.
All right, well, here we go.
Connor's real small.
Hey!